Hey guys, today we're going to be learning how to write proportions. So go ahead and label your notes writing proportions. And a proportion just states that two ratios are equal. So we've already been working with ratios, like say A to B. A proportion just says that this ratio A to B is equal to another ratio, like C to D. Okay, so that's all a proportion is. It's just saying that two ratios are equal. But when we write a proportion, we can do something called cross multiplying. So we can cross multiply to get equivalent answers. So we can cross multiply like this. So if we had A over B equals C over D, to cross multiply, you're going to multiply these two and set that equal to these two multiplied together. So A times D would equal B times C. Okay, so if it is a true proportion, you should get that relationship. So for an example, here's an example of a proportion, and over here we'll do an example of not a proportion. So a proportion, say we had 2/3 equals 8/12. We could check it by cross multiplying. So 2 times 12 equals 24. That should equal 3 times 8, which is also 24. So we know we set up our proportion correctly. If it was not a proportion, if these two ratios were not actually equal, when we cross multiply, we'll get something that is not true. So here, 1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 5 is 10. 6 does not equal 10. So that would be not a proportion. Okay? So we can use proportions and cross multiplying to solve for things that we don't know, unknowns, and we can use a variable to stand in for that. So let's look at an example of how we might use that. So say Katie bought 4 watermelons for $15. And we want to know how many can she buy with $105. We can make a proportion to stand in for this. So if we make the proportion $15 for the ratio $15 for 4 watermelons, we can set that equal to our other ratio. We know that we have $105, so since the dollars were on top here, I'm going to put them on top here. And I don't know how many watermelons she could buy, so that would be our variable, okay? So how many can she buy? That's going to be W. We don't know that yet. So we have what we do know, and that's standing in for what we don't know. So I'm just going to rewrite this without the units so it's a little easier to see. But notice that our units are the same. Okay, same units on the top and the same units on the bottom, watermelons and dollars. Okay, so we've got to make sure that those line up or our proportion won't work, right? So the same units in the same spots. So I'm just going to rewrite this as 15 over 4 equals 105 over W. So it's exactly what was here. I've just taken the units out so it's a little cleaner. Now we're going to cross multiply those two and multiply those two. And so we would get 15 times W is 15W. And we're going to set that equal to this side. 4 times 105 is 420. And now we just have a one-step equation. Put up your dividers, circle your variable, do your inverse operation. 15 is being multiplied by W, so I want to do the inverse and divide by 15. So now W equals 420 divided by 15, which is 28. So she can buy 28 watermelons. That's a lot of watermelons. All right, so see how those can be kind of handy in solving problems? Let's try some more. All right. So for example 2, I'm just going to give you a proportion and you can practice solving it. So I've got x over 5 equals 8 over 120. So remember, we want to cross multiply and set those equal to one another. So on this side, it's 120 times x. I'm just going to write 120x equal to this side. 5 times 8 is 40. Okay, then we solve for our variable. 120 is being multiplied by x, so I'm going to divide by 120. That leaves me x equals, and then here we would want to just simplify. I'm thinking these can both be divided by 40. 40 goes into 41 times, and 40 goes into 123 times. So x would equal 1/3 there. All right, so you dive in and try a couple. Here's a try on your own. The first one is 6 over 9 equals 45 over x. Pause the video here and try this one. Right, hopefully you did that and you're back. We're going to cross multiply here and here. So we're going to get 6 times x, 6x, equal to 9 times 45, which would be 405. And then we're going to solve for our variable. On the side with the variable, this is being multiplied, so I want to do the opposite and divide. So I'm going to have x equals, and we can just do that on the calculator, 67.5. Okay, and then let's try one more. This one is a word problem. If 2 pounds of potatoes cost $5.26, how much would 5 pounds cost? Okay, and we can set that up with a quick proportion. Pause the video, see if you can write a proportion to solve it. All right, hopefully you're back. So I'm going to put 2 pounds per $5.26. And then remember, when I set up my other proportion, I have to do the units in the same spot. So 2 pounds, we want to know 5 pounds. So that has to go on top so that these match. And then we don't know how much. That's our variable. So I'm going to put x there in the dollar spot. Okay, so cross multiply. 2 times x is 2x. Set that equal. $5.26 times 5 is 26.3. Then solve for your variable. I'm going to divide by 2. So now x equals, I'm going to divide by 2, $13.15. Okay, so it will cost $13.15. Okay, so your practice today is very similar. You're going to be either solving proportions like this or writing and solving proportions like this. Let me know if you need any help.